problem solving. Various programs are organized by Dhaka Branch Council for professional development on updated skills and knowledge. This aims at improving CMS with professional excellence and building a knowledge-based ICM. So to begin, I would like to request Muhammad Nazrul Islam, FCMA, Secretary, DBC, and MD and CEO of Shandhan Life Finance Limited for his welcome speech. Please, Mr. Nazrul Islam.
Thank you, Safia. Honorable Chief Guest, respected resource person, my colleagues and respected fellow associate and newly qualified members of ICMAB. Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to all of you. Welcome you all in our DBC International Knowledge-Based Program on Design Thinking, a strategic tool for problem solving. Before starting the main session, I want to share a few information with our honorable resource person. You know, ICMAB is a statutory professional institution in Bangladesh, constituted by the government under the Cost and Management Accountants Act. The Ministry of Commerce, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh is the administrative ministry of ICMAB. The institute has a membership with different international and regional accounting associations like IFAC, CAPA, SAFA, and it is actively involved to promote the profession of accounting across the world. As on that, we have more than 1,650 members and around 25,000 registered students. Our members and students are working in different managerial positions in local as well as global corporate around the world. ICMAB has 3 branch councils throughout the country and 2 chapters, one in UK and another one in Canada. Dhaka Branch Council covers almost 80% of ICMAB members as it is the capital of the country. Dhaka Branch Council works as knowledge partner of ICMAB. DBC always prioritizes the professional development of members of ICMAB in line with the philosophy of Vision CMA to CU, for which it has been undertaking various training and development programs. Last few years, DBC has conducted around 100 knowledge-based and leadership programs, including 3 international leadership programs, one in Thailand with the collaboration of Narisam University, and another one in Bali, Indonesia with the collaboration of AIT, and last one in Istanbul, Turkey. Last 3 years, around 60,000 man-hour knowledge-based programs were conducted by Dhaka Branch Council for the development of members of ICMAB. Last year, we have conducted a knowledge-based program with JICA and JBCCI, where Japanese ambassador was joined with us. As a part of its continuous initiatives, DBC is going to organize this international knowledge-based program on design thinking. DBC is really proud to organize such an arrangement for members' development and international branding of ICMAB. Ladies and gentlemen, our today's resource person, Dr. Aditi Saxena, Dean, School of Arts and Design, Oxford University. He is the elected member of Board of Directors of College Art Association, USA. She is the Indian representative, Restorative Justice Education, USA. Today, we are privileged to have an opportunity to listen to her this evening. On behalf of all gathered here, I welcome you, madam, in our today's program. Our today's chief guest, Mr. Alihada Chaudhuri, FCMA. Mr. Chaudhuri is currently serving Aloha Bangladesh as Managing Director. He is also the Treasurer of ICMAB. He has around 30 years of professional experience in different capacities in different top multinational companies. Thank you, sir, for your kind presence despite your busy schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to a great learning session. Thank you for your patience hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad Nazrul Islam, FCMA, for your welcome speech. Following this, I would like to ask Dr. Syed Abdullah Al Mamun, FCMA, Chairman of DBC and CEO of BDRL, Dan Bradsheet, to deliver his speech.
Thank you, Ms. Safia Usmani. and good evening, everyone. This is the great privilege for me to welcome all of you of today's session. Uh, Respected chief guest of today's program, learned resource person, Dr. Aditi Saxena, my colleagues from the DBC, and all respected fellow and associate members, students, and all participants. Assalamu alaikum and warm welcome to today's DBC International Learning Program. The ultimate purpose of the Dhaka Branch Council of a legitimate professional institutions, that is ICMB, is to add value of the Dhaka-based members and students. And in fact, almost 90% of our total 1600 plus members are in the Dhaka region. So we want to add value to the members and the students to prepare them for the upcoming challenging corporate world and the organizational context. In this respect, we want to add value with the three particular process. Number one is that we want to add value to the members as the knowledge partner by providing different kind of knowledge supports, organizing national and international relevant programs on the contemporary issues. Second, we want to organize, or we usually organize different social programs to increase the bonding among the members and other stakeholders of the ICMAB. And also, we want to strengthen the social capital and intellectual capital of the ICMAB. And the third, as a national professional institution, it plays the multiple role, not only to create human resources, also it provides different policy support to the government. In this respect, DBC creates that platform and promote the role of the CMA professions to contribute in the economy as well as create the economic and social impact. So with this vision, Dhaka Branch Council leadership organizes these sort of programs to add value to our beloved members, to give them knowledge as well as social capital supports. And as part of that journey, as our secretary has already mentioned, that we have already organized last 4 years more than 65,000 man-hour national and international program. And today is one of such an initiatives. And we are very much grateful to today's international scholar, Dr. Aditi Saxena, who is working, and I'm in fact is a big fan of Dr. Aditi because of her work, not only as a professional to play her responsibility. She works to create the impact. Particularly, she's very caring about the well-being of the learner. So it really is a great attraction from my cases. So this is also privilege for me and whole ICMAB family to listen from you. So our heartfelt gratitude to you, Dr. Aditi. And I believe that this program will be really is a great learning experience for all of us. Thank you very much. Wishing a great learning experience from today's program.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Abdullah Al Mamun FCMA, for your nice and valuable speech. Now I would request today's resource person, Dr. Aditi Saxena, Dean, School of Arts and Design, Washington University, to give her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I think it's a pleasure to listen the whole history of the organization, the initiatives, and also the learning, well-being. I think it's really fascinating journey to listen. I think I never got an opportunity to know so many things about the organization. So I think I'm privileged to be part of this forum. Before I start my presentation, I just want to ask today's moderator, Safia, can the participants also perform, or like they can speak?
Yeah, they will share, they will participate, and there will be a
Right.
question answer session. Yeah.
Right.
After your presentation. Yeah.
Perfectly all right. So
Okay, thank you.
I would like to share my screen. Yes, I can. Fine. Perfectly all right. Okay. This is the title of today's presentation, that is Design Thinking, a Strategic Tool for Problem Solving. And I think it's a very appropriate title of design thinking. So I will go with not directly with the design thinking, but probably I would like to show a few pictures, and probably I would request if the participants can put their comments in the chat box, and Safia can help me to understand. Like, these are the few pictures, right? So I would say that, can anyone tell me that what are these two pictures, and if we can define with the keywords that, what is what we understand by seeing these two pictures? Anyone from the audience? Okay, two participants raised hand.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't hear, but is there anyone? It's written here. Huge traffic, right? So basically, these are the two pictures. The first one is energy consumption in an urban context. Cities are, using a huge, enormous amount of energy. The second one is traffic, which is the both problem are in the urban context. Whenever we go to a city, and we all know that Singapore is one of the city where this traffic issue is huge, and there are many other cities, like, even in New York also. So these is one of the urban related problem. If I go ahead, if I move ahead, right? So I think another two picture I put, that I was thinking that how to start, because I know that my audience is mostly, they are adult learner, they are professionals. So the first picture is showing a crowded shopping mall. Again, it's a problem. The second picture is showing pollution, industrialization, urbanization. So these pictures, I'm just moving a little bit forward. I don't think so that I have to tell that what these two pictures as, pictures more than 1,000 words. And what does it mean? Then if I move forward, we can see the water crisis, the water problem, especially in urban, rural India or rural context. City also has its own problem, right? Cityscapes are constantly changing, evolving. That is also a problem with the people, those who are staying over there. This two picture is very close to my heart. The first picture, which can talk about the education, but on the other hand, you can see that there is a lack of infrastructure. When we talk about the school, colleges, the kind of infrastructure we are offering in an urban context, you can see that what kind of infrastructure is this. On the other hand, the next picture is seeing the, it's discrimination. It's a kind of mindset that, there is a one student who is absolutely different, isolated from the group. So the world is talking about racism, violence, equality, gender, a lot of things. And people are really wanted to address all these issues. So let me come to this point, like, I don't know whether my screen is visible or not. At the bottom, I have written.
Yeah, it's visible.
Right. So at the bottom,
We
I
can
have
see that.
written, thank you, Safia. So at the bottom, I have written, what is design thinking? Before I see what is design thinking, now I want my audience should participate a little bit. Can anyone tell me what is this first picture? Can any keyword, anyone can give me a keyword to define the first picture? Anyone from the audience?
So bonding.
Sorry?
It's a bonding.
It's a bonding. Okay.
Support.
Support. It's empathy also. Like we are trying to, feel the problem, what others are facing.
Sharing. Yeah.
Sharing. And what is the next picture?
It's like sun or something.
Yes. It's basically innovation, like we innovate, right? And the next picture are actually two pictures. One is we put our product. Now,
baker.
Yes. So basically, when we say product can be anything. Product can be tangible, product can be non-tangible. A service can also be a product. And any product, what we are using, mobile phone, anything is product. So there one approach is that we are keeping the product at the center, and we are keeping our audience, the users, in the circle. The product is getting more priority. On the other hand, it is more customer centric, where we keeping the customer in the center, and we are arranging the product around. So we are giving more focus to our customer. So now let me tell that a basic, very layman definition of design thinking. Design thinking is a methodology. It might be a process. It might be a mindset to address a problem or to start a process. It can be an organizational process. It can be a product development process. It can be a marketing process. To keep your users at the center of the circle, that we call it human-centric approach or customer-centric approach. And we use empathy is the most primary tool to understand customer needs and requirement, and then we try to address the problem. So basically, what is the difference? Many times when I give design thinking lecture, first question come to me that what is the difference between traditional way of problem solving and design thinking to use as a problem solving tool? I think the first thing is the traditional way of problem solving is very linear. Like we start with our assumption that the solution might be this, and then we provide a solution. However, the design thinking is more complex. Like we move one step forward to two steps backward to try to understand that, what is the customer's situation, what is the user's situation, and how they live, how they behave, how they, what kind of lifestyle they have, what is their challenges, and then we try to give them a solution. But how do we give the solution? And I would say that anytime the audience can stop me and ask me a question rather than I constantly talking on a topic. So if any of my audience have any question, any of the participants, please feel free to stop me and ask me a question. So I'm just moving, and I put few of the keywords because I think these keywords are very important to understand what is design thinking. So I have written empathy, and I think we all know what is the difference between sympathy and empathy. Like, using someone's shoes and understand that how that person feels is more like empathy. It's more human-centric. We already talked about how human-centric, like we keep our customers, users at the center of the circle, put all the focus on them and try to understand, give them a solution, right? Solution means it can be anything, product or anything. Think like a designer. Can anyone tell me that how designers think?
According to the need of the customer, according to the size, preference.
Right.
So
it should
here
be
is the need.
exclusive. Yeah.
Absolutely. So designers always try to understand, like, let's say, I'm a fashion designer. Let's say I am a interior designer, or let's say I am a system designer, right? Not tangible, I'm a system designer. So designers always try to understand the requirement of a specific customer. And they start from a scratch. I always give a very simple example like this way, or I can say, think like a doctor, not the current day doctor, those who go and they give you a list of tests. They go and get the test done. You just imagine the doctors, those who are practice homeopathy, those who are practice Ayurveda. When you go to them, they try to understand everything about you, like everything. They ask you several questions to understand what you like, how you eat, and then they start developing a thought process about you, that what is suitable for you. So strategic innovation, I know, like I'm just quickly touching all the points. I come to this point, like, what is the wicked problem? Now here I want to take a pause and I just want to see that there are three categories of problem. One is known plus known. That means the reason also known, solution also known to us. There are problems which we know that why it is happening and we know how to solve the problem. There are categories where unknown plus known. Like either we know the reason or we know the solution. There are problems which is known, unknown plus unknown. Neither we know the reason nor we know the solution, like COVID. We don't know what was the reason and what solution we can offer. That is a wicked problem where we are really struggling to understand the both purpose are, I think I have a question. Someone is raised hand. Safia, should I take a pause?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Mannan Bapari FCMA will conduct the question and answer session.
Right.
And after some time, I don't know, it should be interactive or what, Dr. Abdullah Al Mamun? Can you please tell me?
I think like we may deal with these questions in the question and answer session. It will be more
session.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll do that. So I'll just finish it up. So this is a wicked problem, and design thinking as an approach which is more applicable to address the wicked problem as well as the problem which is combination of unknown and known. Like a little bit complex problem, but wicked problem are the area where design thinkers are actually work. And how they work is an iterative process. I'll come back to this keyword again, like, probably let me go and then I will come back to this point. We don't call it problem, we call it opportunity. Like, as a design thinker, anything which we are addressing, we never use the word problem. We always say that it is an opportunity to add more value to the organization, to add more value to the people's life. And this is always an opportunity. I'm just moving. Now, this is a very important slide. Like design thinking, there are many organizations starting from David Kelly, starting from Tim Brown, those who are considered as a pioneer of design thinking. They all introduce a different model of design thinking, that how to go about it, how to start, how to go about it. I am not referring all the models in my first session. So I am referring the most popular model, which is Stanford Design School model. And when even if you do Google, you will find that this is a model come to you in the first page of Google search, that what is design thinking, right? What are the stages we use design thinking, like how we would do the design thinking process? It has 5 stages: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. As I told that I'm taking a little bit more time in this slide. Empathize means, Safia, also remind me the time, right? Because time is very valuable.
Oh,
We should finish.
it's okay. It's your time now. Yeah.
Thank you. So empathize is the stage which is one of the most important phase of design thinking. When we start, we try to understand our customer. Earlier time, the market survey is more like a huge amount of quantitative data, right? And based on that, we used to take a call. Empathize state, we go closer to our customer or our problem area. We try to understand the content, like the person, and the context, like where that person is. A person, similar problem in the city of Delhi and the similar problem in the city of Dhaka is different because the context is different. Context means how the cityscape work, what kind of policy, what kind of people's behavior, mindset, cultural approach makes a lot of difference to understand the person. Might be we all look same, but our whole behavior pattern is controlled by a lot of things. So in the first stage, the design team try to understand its observation, its storytelling, its persona mapping, it taking picture, any way, like we use multiple ways to understand the users in a very close, you can see it's a very close view to understand what he or she likes, how they behave. The next stage is define stage, where we try to define the problem statement, that what is the problem. Now in this stage, I come to that slide also, that we try to define the problem state in such a way where it is not too broad, neither too narrow. We define like, it's morely like how might, right? So like we give a lot of space over there to go back and work over there. Ideate stage is where we actually do the brainstorming, all the design thinking, because that time, by the time we have the qualitative data, then we define the problem. And ideate stage is entirely the brainstorming stage, which is very visual in nature, like all design teams sit together, they put sticky notes, storytelling, showing the film, multiple ways they try to understand that what is the problem is all about. Then we move to the prototype state. Prototype means it's a very quick, cost-effective, tangible or non-tangible object to see, give the solution, like this is a prototype. Prototype can be a PowerPoint presentation, prototype can be a storyboarding, prototype can
Okay, you can carry on. I think there is someone. Okay.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah.
So this is a prototype stage where design thinker give a solution in the form of prototype, which is tangible or non-tangible. You must have seen, it is written like it's mock-up, storyboarding, keep it simple. Iterate means going to the phase again and again, that we create, we break it down, we again create. Testing stage is something where we take a small group of users of that particular project to whom we have already identified, and we we test our prototype. We ask them to experience, and experience word is also very important in design thinking. Today, I don't have so much of time. Otherwise, there is many stories where this experience word can be understood in a very interesting way. So we test, we give the audience, our users experience, and then, we get the feedback and we try to improve the solution. So this is the process of design thinking. I just moving forward. This is a graphical representation of the design thinking, like how we start. The initial process is very cluttered. I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, sorry. So the initial stage is very cluttered, where we have things that are overlapping, multiple thoughts, multiple arguments. If you see, when we move to the next phase, it's a little bit focused, like design team is trying to understand the users, their need, the cultural connotation, and then gradually you see that the lines are more simple in nature, easy to understand the direction. So design thinking is a non-linear process. So I just wanted to, why I'm showing this visual, because traditional way of problem solving is a linear way of process where it's a straight line, where design thinking was a non-linear way of solving process, problem solving methodology. I just came to this empathy stage. I already discussed many things on empathy, but just to thought, like if anyone is interested, I can give this PPT also after the presentation. Like it's more like empathy, like understanding your user, spend time with them, gain trust. Your user is not going to share anything with you until and unless they trust you. So designers, the design thinking team are very much into this process of spending time with the users and gain their trust and understand that what they are experiencing. So this is the process through which we conduct the empathy stage. This is an area where we define the problem. When we actually interact with our users, we understand, have a more in-depth understanding about their challenges, their requirement. Then we try to, I'm sorry, just give me a minute. Santosh, I'm in a meeting. Okay. So the define stage is basically where we write the problem. Now you see, I have mentioned how might we, like we write the problem in such a way where we create a lot of scope or a lot of opportunity or a lot of space to incorporate new things. It's not too specific and neither too narrow down. This is the ideate stage. People like from our childhood, we came to know a word that think outside the box, think out of the box. Nobody told us that how to think out of the box. All our teachers, our professors, our parents always tell us that think out of the box. So I think this is a stage where design thinkers try to ideate, and the most silly idea is more valuable. Like they come up with thousands, multiple ideas, but then we try to understand the pattern of their ideas by understanding, and then we select few from there. And this is another complex stage where now I just want to say one more thing in this stage, that's why we always prefer the design thinking team should be multidisciplinary in nature. When we say multidisciplinary, most of the renowned design thinking project is handled by the financial experts, the doctors, the engineers, the psychologists, and obviously, domain-specific experts. So what happened that when people from the multiple domain, they come together and they understand the problem, this is an area where they come up with a out-of-the-box idea, because their understanding about the domain is completely different from each other. So each idea generation stage is very important. This is the prototype stage. After the ideate stage, we identify a few of the idea which we can explore, and then we create the prototype. Testing stage, as I told, that it's very important to understand about our prototype, get the feedback. It is again a qualitative process of testing stage. I just want to give few of the slides very quickly, like it's not related to directly design thinking, but as design is very much related. And when we say design, normally people understand design means make something aesthetically good. No, designers address the problem, right? So anyone in the design team are trying to understand the problem. So I'm just going to show this slide where if we are giving a service or a product, like we need to understand, that is called inclusivity, diversity, that we need to understand that it should be and it must be useful for everyone. So you can see that the first one is only the adult person can open, but on the other slide, it is creating that it for everyone. I'm not going to read this slide. I just put this point that if my participants are interested to read, they can read, because I have already explained that it's an empathy-driven methodology, which emotion plays a very important role. It's more like qualitative study, going to the audience, understanding their need. Many people ask me that after discussion also, that how we conduct the empathy stage, right? So this is a way that we use that 5W, and sometimes we include 1H also, that is how. But this 5W give us an idea, like whenever we meet our users, we discuss with them, we understand their need, we try to plot the data into 5W, like who is the person. You see, I put who at the center of the circle because this is my user, my customer. And on the fourth side, it's what is the, challenges they are facing. The place is very important, where they are now, when, how they start the journey, and why. So this is very important. Like we all practice 5W and 1H, but design thinking empathy stage specifically use this kind of empathy mapping. I think I skipped. Okay. So this is what I was trying to explain in the next stage, where we frame the problem statement. So we use how might we. So you can see that I've given certain example from a very interesting book, that how might be, how we, it's like too broad. More successful company. It's too broad, right? But on the other hand, you can see that when the next question, it's too narrow down. Like there is no scope, like you are putting everything like remote location, adding dealers, search page, mobile app, like you are giving solution while framing the question. And that is also a traditional way of addressing the thing, that when we frame the question, we also give solution over there. On the other side, if you see, the right question is, how might we improve the sales of our dealers at remote location? So we are giving little bit contextual information. That is, we are looking for a remote location. We are looking for dealers, but we are not giving the solution over there. So this is a way, we define the problem statement, right? I'm just trying to explain the phases also, to give an idea that how we conduct design thinking. I'm not going to read this thing, like phase 1, phase 2, how we do, like what are the activities we do. We interview, informal chat, observation. Shadowing is more like a customer shopping thing, right? Mystery shopping, picture taking. We do a lot of activities, not everything, but few activities, one or more than one, depending on the type of the project we are handling. Then tools we use, like we use interview checklist, observation checklist, writing part, camera, and what we deliver personas. Personas means information about our customer, what he or she likes, what is the lifestyle, what is the challenges they are facing. We also give empathy mapping, list of user feedback. Oh, I'm sorry, power gone. No problem. Okay, so yes. So this is the second stage where we are talking about the workshop, stakeholders. I'm just a little bit moving forward. Am I audible? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have network, but I lost my power, right? No problem. So this is the phase 3 where we are actually, we have already discussed that what we do in the phase 3. I'm just putting the thing in a more structured way, like what activity we do, what tool we use, and what kind of deliverable we offer. This is the phase 4, that is the prototype phase, where we create prototype like space, physical prototype, paper construction, lot of prototype we create. And these are the last stage where we test. When we see what are the, I'm sorry, I'm just asking question, but I'm just moving. Okay, so these are the phases, and how we conduct the phases I have explained. I just want to say that what is the design thinking challenge, right? I think the first thing in design thinking is we can see that a lot of risk is involved. Like it's not a very linear process that we can just put it and conduct it. A lot of risk is involved. So design thinkers need to be ready with the risk. Second thing, there is a possibility of failure. It's not a sure shot success. Many times design thinking projects design thinkers need to go back, need to understand, and accordingly they have to work again. So it's a to and fro process. We have to go back to the initial stage, again meet the users, understand their requirement, and go forward. It is also very challenging when we work in an organization where that there are companies like Apple, Nike, Hindustan Unilever. They normally use design thinking and they got a huge success. However, any organization, when we try to implement the design thinking, the major problem what we face is mindset, the traditional mindset. People are not ready to accept this new tool because it required a lot of experiment and, of course, the time also. I just put few of the slides which I thought very interesting. I really like those slides. Multiple design thinkers give multiple quotations. So the first quotation is that problem with the rat race, that when we are into the rat race, we are also the rat, right? So then the last slide, which is very important in today's context, like the design thinking is management is basically nothing to ask the design managers not to be too creative, but to take some decision with risk. Like most of the time we tell the managers that you please be creative, but design thinking, if you want to involve or implement in the organizational setup, I think the most important thing is that the leaders should be ready to take a risk, because there is a possibility to failure, there is a possibility to multiple experiments. So we should be ready with this challenge, and then only we can do it. This is a very good point. Like in 1980, before the Macintosh launch, this point was written, and you can see that empathy was, the Apple marketing philosophy is all about knowing their users, keeping their users at the center of the circle, and understand their requirement. I'm not going to read it because I know that everyone can read it. So the whole idea is that we need to come up from the traditional way. I'm just giving a very simple example, which is very silly also. Most of the time when students are not able to perform well in their final exams, parents say that, yes, I know why you are not able to perform, because you watch film, you are always in front of the social media, you are always watching the television programs. How will you able to score good marks, right? There is nothing proven fact that the students, those who study the entire day or 10 hours or 20 hours, they perform well in their life. So the thing is, the traditional way of problem solving is that when our company, every time like preoccupied thought, like we know that what is the solution. Another example, before I close it, probably this is my last slide. Another example before I close it, I would like to see that when we develop a product, the product, again, I'm telling that it can be a service or it can be a tangible product. Even if we understand the user requirement, we pay more attention to the production process. We pay more attention to marketing, right? We never pay more attention the wastage, the sustainability aspect. Many of the brand is creating a lot of sustainability challenge for the world. So this is also another way that design thinking probably address not only the user requirement, not only the marketing or sale purchasing, but they also pay attention that any project what we are doing, how we are able to also save our earth. Like major challenges what we are facing nowadays, like with the energy, water, or you can say food, all these things like wastage, sustainability, equity, diversity, how we can include all these things. So companies now, many companies are now started recruiting the disabled people. And there is many case study that in a customer care, people, those who cannot, like those who are entering the data, people, those who cannot speak, they are doing much better than the people who can speak, because people who can speak, they spend more time. But people who can't speak, they are paying more attention to their work. So there are, I know, n number of examples where design thinking is one of the tools to add more value to the world in an empathetic and human-centric way. I think I'm through with it because I made a very short presentation, and I just stopped sharing my screen, and yeah, I'm ready with the question.
Thank you, Dr. Aditi Saxena. That was informative, and I'm sure our audience has a lot to learn from this. For question answer, I would like to request the assistance of Mannan Bapari FCMA, Counselor DBC, and CFO South Bangla Agricultural and Commerce Bank Limited, Mr. Mannan Bapari, FCMA.
Thank you, Safi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Aditi, for nice presentation. And now it is time for question and answer. Just I would request our participant to raise their hand if you want to ask a question. I saw that someone is raising hand.
Selim Reza.
Selim Reza, can you hear me? Selim Reza bhai, can you hear me?
I think you need to give him access.
Yeah, we have given. Yeah, we have given. So Selim bhai, please unmute and ask your question.
Selim bhai, can you hear me? Oh, I think Selim bhai is not available. Now,
Monir Hussain.
Mr. Monir Hussain. Monir bhai, can you hear me? Monir bhai,
Munir bhai, please unmute your
Please,
device, please.
Monir bhai, Zakaria Sisir bhai, can you hear me? Please, Zakaria Sisir bhai.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
I
please,
can hear you.
please ask your
My-
question.
My question is very simple question. I know whether it is a good question or bad question. My question is, what is the difference between design thinking and creative thinking? Whether one is organized and one is individual. That is difference or anything else?
Thank you. And no question is simple. All the questions are important. Design thinking is a methodology. So basically, we have a structured format how we can conduct the design thinking. Creative thinking is genuinely a thought, like how you address the thing, but there is no such very like people practice creative thinking in a different way. So if you go back to the history, you will find that the leaders, the innovators, they always use the creative thinking in a to understand the situation, to give the solution. But there is no very structured form, like, I think the design thinking is something which we can, creative thinking is a thought process. It's a mindset that how you think, right? And how you understand the situation and how you give the solution. Like a lot of people have a habit of journaling. Like many leaders, they do journaling. They ask question, why? And they don't give solution directly. Like many of the leaders, when their employee come to them with a problem, they ask that, okay, what solution do you think suitable for it? Like, it's a creative thought process of addressing the thing, like, but design thinking is a methodology. Like it's a structured methodology. We normally do take the qualitative data, and based on that, we give a solution. So I don't know whether it's a very common question. Like every time people ask me that what is the difference between creative thinking and design thinking? So design thinking is a methodology. Creative thinking is a thought process, a creative way of seeing the thing and creative way of giving the solution. So it might be like, you see a particular thing in a particular manner where the person next to you is seeing the particular consequences in a different manner. That might be a difference.
Okay, thank you. We have got some questions in our
Manan
chat
bhai,
box.
there is a question. Just one question in our chat box. Just
Chat
if
box,
you
yes,
read
yes.
whether
Achha.
this model is equally effective for all size of organization, means big or small.
Yes, I think I can read another question, then it will be easier for Aditi to answer the question. There is another question posted in the chat box, that is, what is the most important consideration while we are thinking design thinking stage? So, can I read again?
No, I can read. I can see the questions also. Right.
Okay.
Thank you. So I think the first question is written here is, what is the most important consideration while we are thinking design thinking stage? Right. So I think the first important consideration is empathy stage. I think this is the way we are quite different from the traditional way of problem solving. So in the empathy stage, we actually understand the user need, the challenges, the content, the context. We spend time with the user and emotionally also their emotional requirement. We develop the trust with the users. And I think design thinking process, if that is the question, I think the empathy stage is the first important stage where we start. And then probably the prototype stage is also very important. Like many times the new design thinkers have a habit of very detailed prototype, making something which is complex, which is detailed. That will also not work. Prototype means a very simple solution, what we are giving to our user and ask them to try. I hope that I'm able to address this question. The next question is that whether this model, yeah, it's if we go back, we can see that this model is applicable for the big as well as the small organization. It is a proven fact. I don't have to say anything. But the only thing is it takes time. Like if any organization think, like many organizations, especially in South Asian context I'm talking about, many organizations think that they want to practice design thinking because the idea of design thinking must come from the top hierarchy, from the top leader. If they don't believe in the design thinking process, then it's very tough to implement design thinking in an organizational structure. So that is the one challenge. Like most of the people, those who are sitting in the leadership position, if they have a traditional mindset, then it's very tough to address the design thinking approach in the organization. Another thing is that, as I told, that it has risk. You are going to take a risk, right? And when you take a risk, there is a lot more possibility to get success. But many organizations are not ready to take a risk, but it is proven that design thinking successfully implemented a company like Apple, Nike, or Indian companies. I'm sorry, I don't know any company from Bangladesh which is successfully implementing design thinking, but there are many, like even the, Hindustan Unilever, their many product is outcome of a design thinking. Like Oral-B for the children. They are the first company who come up with a toothbrush, right? We all know in our childhood when we used to have the similar toothbrush, right? A child of 5 years. But now this product is also a very much, outcome of a design thinking project. Yeah. I think what the chat in the
okay, Mananda, if you allow me, then I have a question.
Okay, please, Dr. Mamun, please ask your question.
So, like we are like putting customer perspectives, or putting our questions and use for the customer perspectives, like the company will design the product considering or putting customer in center. But if we think about an organization, then organization itself is the customer office process. So in running, particularly to setting our strategy and to improve our process, we face challenges. Means, as we all know that company and company management itself is the customer office process, in which it is of design thinking tool for setting the appropriate process, implementing strategy, and making the account. So how the cost and management accountants can use this tool for achieving the cost efficiency of their system as well. So like, is there any opportunity to use the design thinking as a tool of process improvement and achieving the cost efficiency?
Yes. So I think definitely there is a process, like if we, you are absolutely right. Like, the company's leader, managers, they're also customers, like, of the process. Every employee is a process owner. And we normally, what happened that in any company, like multiple case studies, like I just want to give an example that currently I'm handling a project, which is design thinking of social change in European context. So we are trying to identify a few tools where we can implement design thinking for a social change. Now, when we say organizational context, whether it is cost effectiveness or whether it is, you can say, waste management or many other things, I think it is possible. It is possible to identify the problem. It is possible to go back to your users. When I'm saying your customers, it might be the process owners. I'm not saying the people, those who are using the product. It might be all your process owners. and know their challenges. So many times it happens that we are not able to understand what is the challenge they are facing. Even they don't understand what is the challenge they are facing. So there is a brainstorming session required under the supervision of the design thinking team or design thinker, and gradually we can come up with we can identify that where is the space where we can work. So there might be multiple areas where we can work, but there is a particular area which has strong possibility to add value or address the challenge. So I think my answer is, like, obviously when we come to the real scenario, then when we actually start the process of design thinking in organizational context, whether it is a cost effectiveness or is a waste management, then only we can understand that when we start the process, we interact with the people. I just want to give we are crossing the time, but I just want to give a small case study, a very 2 to 3 line of a case study. I probably you can this case study will answer your question in a better way. This case study is the context of Denmark, right? We all know that Denmark has a maximum number of elderly population, and a major percentage of that elderly population are depend on the public kitchen. That means the government kitchens make food and they deliver the food to the to their home, and this is the process. Government realized that after doing so many things like kitchen worker working, they are regularly making food, there is a food van which delivered the food. So elderly citizens, they do not have to come to collect the food also. Still, they are not having the food. And genuinely, it's the number of malnutrition patient is increasing, and it is a major burden on the country in the context of health and medical, right? So municipal corporation realized that it's just a menu, like the menu can be revisited, it can be make a new menu, and that problem can be resolved. They invited a senior design thinker group, and when they started working, they realized 3 major problems over there. Point number 1 is a cultural issue. In Denmark, culturally, it is people don't think it positive when an elderly person taking help from the public kitchen. It might be acceptable, the neighbors or friends are helping. Point number 2, they are lonely, and when food comes to them, they don't take the food. Point number 3, when they actually meet with them, they told that the car, the van which comes to their place, it's like a dead body carriage. And they don't feel respectful when that van comes to their, in front of their home to serve the food. Another way, they realize that the kitchen workers are very competent and skilled. But working as a kitchen worker in Denmark is also very low, status job. And they don't have that ownership of making experiment with the food. And the third point, what they come to know, which is very surprising, people, those who are taking the decision of the menu or the food, that like leadership people, they never experience that food. They never experience that what food is going. So ultimately, it's a good kitchen story in the context of Denmark that many times it happened that when we give a decision or when we introduce a process, we hardly experience it, or there are something or other things which is we overlook, and probably that might be a reason. I don't know whether I'm able to address your question.
Thank you.
That's clear.
Thank you.
Really nicely understood.
Thank you. I think Abdul Hakim Bhai is with us. He's our proud member. He's working in UK and engaged in your related activities. So can I request Abdul Hakim Bhai to unmute you and say your question or give your observation. You have written an observation in the chat box.
Thank you, Mandan, for giving me a chance. Actually, my plan was not to
waste your time. That's why I put a message on the chat box. What I understood from the presentation, it was a very nice presentation indeed. Second, it is a thought-provoking. And thought-provoking in a sense, actually, say we are in the past, not now, in the past, what we did, we made the product and then we go to the customer and ask them to buy. Instead of doing this, nowadays, what the designers are thinking, they talk to the stakeholders, the ultimate beneficiary of the product, I mean the user, then they design accordingly as per their choice, as per their taste, as per their requirement. And as a result, the designing cost will be reduced as well. Because if you design something and then you need to make some adjustment to suit the customer requirement, it will take longer time, longer investment, longer process. So instead of doing this, if you start from the user points of view, then you can reduce your cost, and cost and management accountant in their practice or in their work with the industries, they can also consider the similar things to bring more efficiency in their work to save cost and increase the bottom line of an organization. So this is my observation. Actually, I don't have any particular question to her because she presented nice way that everything is clear to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, by to join with us and make our program more effective. I think this is there are many questions we have, but it is not there, as there is a time limitation. If you have any questions, just ask, just text us and mail us. Just we will send it to our resource person, and of course, they will give us the feedback.
Mahan bhai,
So,
just a minute.
yes.
Yeah, I want to
Please.
say one thing, Dr. Said, on the context of your question, it just came to my mind, like it's very applicable in the organizational context. It might be possible in your organization, one person having a best practice, we are not able to identify that person, right? One of your employee or a group. So this thing, what I'm saying, there is a case study in the context of South Africa where a professor went, there's a community that all children of the community are suffering in malnutrition. So the professor, when he went over there, he realized that obviously, they all are underprivileged people. But one thing he realized, and that is also another strategy of the design thinking team, among the community, there are 3 families, their kids are well, their kids are fine. So they understand that these 3 families might have some best practices which other families are not doing. And he actually observed them. He started spending time with them. And they realized that the mother of the families actually know how to make a nutritious food with a very minimum, expenditure. And they also know how to serve the food to the children. So the children of these 3 families are able to have food, good food, and also, they eat food because the way we serve the food makes a lot of difference. So then he told other community members that these 3 families are going to conduct a training workshop. Now we have a habit of calling people from outside, not from the organization or not from the community. So design thinkers also do that thing, that in the organization, in the community, they try to understand that what are the best practices other people are doing, right? Particularly 1 or 2 or 3 people. And they try to find out the solution from there also. That might be another way of addressing the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mamun, please.
Thank you. So there is a last questions I think we can take from Q&A. Q&A box says, please let me know about the difference between design thinking and problem solving. It's been asked by the Jahangir Bhai.
Okay.
Okay. So there is as such no difference actually. See, design thinking is a problem solving methodology. Now, there are 2 ways of solving problem. One way is traditional way of solving problem. Another one is use the design thinking as a problem solving tool, right? So as I told, that problems are 3 types: known plus known, known plus unknown, unknown plus unknown. So the second and third categories of problem might be challenging when we try to solve that problem with the traditional approach and we fail. We saw many examples in the world, like excellent product, excellent services. People just refuse. They refuse because of this traditional way of addressing the thing. So I think there is no difference between problem solving and design thinking. Problem solving, design thinkers also try to solve the problem in a more human-centric, more empathetic way. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we should stop here. I said earlier, if you have any more question, then just mail or text us. Just we will send it to our resource person. Of course, she will feedback, and we will send it to you. So this is all from me. Now, Safia, please, for the next
thank
course
you,
of action.
Manan Bepari,
Okay.
FCMA.
Just
Seems like we
Safia,
covered all questions.
just carrying the next session to listen from our respected chief guest. Just I want to add another issues for as per our plan to all of the beloved members and the students. So as per our plan with the Dr. Aditi, that nowadays design thinking is a critical tool of problem solving, and it is essential for CMA to learn, because we want to see every CMA as a strategist, future strategist. So that's why this is the essential tool as per the research and the observation of expert. So we want to give the learning support to all members, not only today's like initial stage. Rather, we are planning, Dr. Aditi, we made a request to him. She will visit Bangladesh in person and conducted a certification program, and hope our members will get the learning support continuously. So I think that we'll get a very Dr. Aditi as a good friend of the ICMAB and the learning supporter as the global scholar. So I think she will come and help us to learn and to equip us to become future strategists. And we have the plan, and hope as per, she is very busy, engaged with the like European Union projects, and she is also the board member of the US-based like Association of the Arts College. So she's busy, but in spite of her busy schedule, hope she will come in person and help us to learn in a more articulated way in terms of workshop approaches. So we are planning. So I'm sharing so that we can manage our time as well to learn. And definitely we will arrange that certification program so that it enrich our CVs as well. So thank you. Over to Safia.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mamun and Aditi. Now I would like to proceed to our chief guest, Mr. Ali Haidar Chaudhry, FCMA, Treasurer of ICMAB and Managing Director of Aloha Bangladesh, to deliver his speech. Sir.
Thank you very much, Shafia. So first of all, I'd like to pass my gratefulness and thanks to the Dhaka Branch Council officials for arranging such a nice session, and heartfelt thanks to the resource person, Dr. Aditi Saxena, to be here and spend a valuable time. It was really a very rich session. So I would like to start my speech while Aditi Saxena was talking about the government kitchen, right? For the elderly person, start with sharing a story that one of the Bangladeshi people used to stay in Switzerland, and he used to see the landlady was going out. She's 70 years above age and coming back after 8 hours. Then one day, this fellow asked her, you have a couple of properties, you have good amount of money, so why you are working? So she smiled and replied that I'm working and I'm working for depositing my working hours. And she said that she is going to a house where a 90 years old gentleman, she used to serve her, serve that gentleman, take care of him, and spend time in gossiping, and equivalent 8 hours work got deposited against her name. And she said, when I will get elder, then these hours, deposit of hours will be served. Someone will come and take care of me. So fantastic. So this is, I think, I don't know how this process come out. Maybe some sort of design thinking is behind this. So basically, mostly as Dr. Mamoon said, mostly we are talking, the discussion was based on marketing and product. But normally, you know, when we work in our office day-to-day process as an executive, on an average spend 3 hours time a week in against solving problems. And basically, as per my experience in my long career, I was working in Nestle India. So what I used to do, I can share with you that every week we come across with the problems, right? And most of the case, I used to solve the problem according to policy and whatever, but I focused on the process, why this problem happened, and what are the ways of process I need to change or policy I need to change so that it doesn't repeat again. So that was always my focus area. So I call it as firefighting versus, instead of fire prevention. And I do 100% agree with Dr. Aditi Saxena. The empathy is a core area of starting all critical problem solving. We know in management we have got so many models of problem solving, starting with fishbone diagram, flowchart, mind map, so many things. But the person or the team working with this empathy is the starting point. When you are manager of 10 people, so you have to think you are not managing 10 people, you are managing 10 minds. So that's the real empathy. You need to understand others, what they are thinking. I'd like to address the area, Aditi said, no, the child failed and the parents immediately come up with the finding out the problem. You watch too much movies, you play too much video game. That's the, I think, surface level of determining the problem. It's like, to me, iceberg, 10% of it on the surface level and 90% of the iceberg underneath. So in design thinking, I think people need to, there is no room for complacency. You have to get deep down to it. You have to get deep down to it and find out. And the risk of the design thinking, as you say, I think in marketing area, is a wrong positioning. I can give an example. Most of the time, we compare what is a competitor of Pepsi. So normally, instantly we come up with the answer that Coca-Cola is the main competitor. But if we go deep core of the utility we are serving to this Pepsi or Coke drinker is a thirst. So thirst can be solved not only by Coca-Cola or Pepsi, maybe simple plain water, drinking water, fruit juice, teas, coffee. So you need to understand core of the problem. That's why, and these problems all even related with culture, behavior, and then you positioning depending on these areas. Then effort, comfort level, food safety, different areas. Based on that, you can come up. So design thinking can deal with all these areas. But end of my speech, I'd like to express one thing. In my entire career, I have seen as a management accountant, we do a lot of in project feasibility. We do a lot of financial analysis, no? Sensitivity analysis, payback period, net present value, IRR, and based on that, maybe we rank the projects, project A, project B, project C, and according to that analysis, maybe project B is the best. But most of the case I have seen the CEOs having experience for more than 20 years, he used his gut feelings or sixth sense. Okay, project A is the best, but I feel I will go with the project B. I don't know why, but most of the case we have seen in the history, it works. So that's the area. The design thinkers who have got this is really, really necessary, because artificial intelligence to me as of now cannot replace the sense and response philosophy. So design thinking is nothing but sensing the need and problem of the human and response accordingly. So that's all from my side. So I again thank you, Dr. Aditi Saxena, and I'm also looking forward to get your service as a chairman training committee. You know, my role in the institute, the academic knowledge, whatever students are taking, but beside that, we provide them from the training department application of those knowledge. So as a skill, application of those knowledge. So even DBC and I also have my support. We are looking forward for you. Whenever you come, please, we will be very happy to go through an extensive session. This is very much related with our profession, as Dr. Mahmood said. So thank you very much again for your nice presentation, and thank you, Dhaka Branch Council official, for arranging such a nice session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ali Haider
Thank you.
FCMA sir, for your insightful speech.
Just Safia,
yeah.
just one minute. Like,
Yeah.
let me take the privilege to introduce with another two officials of the office bearer of the DBC. One is Miss Shahana Parveen, who is the treasurer of Dhaka Branch Council in the history of last 50 years. She is the first office bearer of the Dhaka Branch Council, women office bearer. So this is one of our achievements to build a more inclusiveness in the leadership process. And our vice chairman is Shafiul Ajum FCMA. He is a very renowned professionals, young renowned professionals, playing a very important role as the CFO in one of the leading pharmaceutical companies, Shafiul Ajum. And Mannan Bapari, who has conducted, who is also the CFO of a leading banks in Bangladesh. So this is all. Over to Safia.
Thank you.
Thank you. To conclude today's session, I would like to ask Shahana Parveen FCMA, Treasurer DBC, and Senior Finance Manager ICDDRB to deliver her Thanksgiving speech. Shahana Parveen.
Thank you, Safia. Thank you. Many thanks to today's resource person, Dr. Aditi Saxena, for your nice presentation and exemplary example, and nicely understand our member, I think. And special thanks, Ali Haider Chaudhry, Treasurer FCMA, Treasurer ICMAB, for your present here, for your time. And I want to thank Safia for your excellent moderation, and DBC counselor and officer of the DBC for your effort. And I want to say something about today's topic, because design thinking is new thing for me. And I search Google and learn many things. And today's presentation, I clear everything. And I want to invite our members in the 19th May for DBC e-Union and View Exchange program, because today we learn design thinking. and we serve as a DBC counselor. We serve our member. So we, if we know the members' expectation, we can serve our member. So thank you, our member, for your active participation, and I want you participate in the 19th May. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Safia. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Good night.
Last, just I want to congratulate, and we are really grateful to Dr. Syed Abdullah Al Mamun, who has taken the initiative for international program. He is the pioneer. He is the founder of the international program. Because last 3 programs we have conducted with the AIT. So Dr. Mamun said that we will be much more happy if Aditi will come to ICMAB and take a physical session, and our members will be immensely benefited. Because nowadays many of the members are not very much interested to virtual program. They are much more interested to have a physical program. So I really, from the Dhaka Branch Council, we are really grateful to you, and we would invite you to come to Dhaka Branch Council for arranging such types of program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. I think it's very for me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Thank you, Aditi, and all participants. Hope we will continue our learning journey, because learning itself is a journey. So I hope we will all carry this journey, add value to our life and also to our organization and society. Thank you very much. Good night.
Okay. সবাইকে একটা ইনভিটেশন যেটা শাহানাপা দিয়েছে, যে আমাদের 19 তারিখের প্রোগ্রামে সবাই আসার জন্য মেম্বারদের, আমাদের ভিউ এক্সচেঞ্জ এন্ড ইদ্রি ইউনিয়ন সবাই আসবেন ইনশাআল্লাহ। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ।
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mamun bhai.
Thank you, Apu. Okay, thank you, Safia pa.
Mamun bhai.
সুন্দর হয়েছে।
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
আমি একটু নার্ভাস ছিলাম।
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
You did great, inshallah.